championship rematch. Notre Dame, in my eyes, has separated from the pack offensively. Duke's defense is what stands out.
Well, I think Duke needs to figure out their midfield punch.
Will Lynch and Jake Naso from two rival Long Island high schools. One of the subplots when these two teams play. Duke, a heavy St. Anthony's flavor. Notre Dame, a heavy Chaminade flavor. Lynch from
Kavanaugh having a Tuaretan-like season.
He continues to close in on Randy Colley's all-time points record at Notre Dame. Face-off violation on the Irish. First possession for Duke, and we get to see this loaded attack. Josh Zawada, the Michigan transfer, where he was the Wolverines' all-time leading scorer. Brennan O'Neill played 4 games last year before a broken wrist abruptly ended his season. He was able to get a red shirt. And Naso wins this face-off clean.
You know, with this high-powered attack I mentioned right before the first face-off, it's all about this midfield development. If you get a dose of Andrew McAdory, Max Slotin, the freshman Ben Johnson.
Kavanaugh does so well. He's not an attackman who's only comfortable in one spot. You can put him anywhere on the field. It's positionless lacrosse for Notre Dame offensively.
There's 2 players that kind of ring a bell for me that were attackmen that dodged like that from all over the field. Lyle Thompson when he was at Albany, and Connor Fields. They take defenders out of their natural habitat, and they dodge from all different unpredictable spots.
And it also takes that second slide have more distance.
Williams, the #1 pick in the NLL draft. His line mate Brennan Williams, a presumptive #1 pick in the PLL draft. Here comes Duke. Naso over to O'Neill. Feeding inside, Zawada denied by Entenmann. Quint, goalie to goalie. What impressive.
He's got the 1 loss to Georgetown. But they put a great 60 minutes on paper against Michigan, and then came back against Syracuse and played superb second and third quarter.
And I think it's the consistency of their offensive midfield that you alluded to. Guys like Faceoff, right? And the second midfield emergence.
Can play fast, can play slow, and that was a huge face-off win.
Yeah, Notre Dame again still has the extra man advantage for another 30 seconds.
The most outstanding player in San Diego, so his skill set and what he brings to the table is unmatched.
Now the 3 of us left San Diego last summer going, whoa, Duke's going to be a problem for everybody in 2024.
He's the only guy that honestly, skill set, size, speed, that combination that I've seen that's close to Gary Gate. Willed that team back into that matchup.
It was the best game of his career.
There you go. That's why I have you here next to me.
Captain Obvious has a tip jar too, Kirk.
Feels like Denenz has been around forever, right?
It does. He's been a fixture, though. He's been a steady player. We've seen him yo-yo back at times between that first and second midfield. He gives John Denous
presence for so long. Father Sean was a legendary box player as well.
So much more versatile last summer, playing for Team Canada as a ball carrier, as a dodger. Sometimes I think he's compartmentalized in this Duke system.
I go back and forth. I think those teams that he went to the goal against in the World Games, because he wasn't doing that against Team USA.
Tomato.
Look, I in all due respect, Australia's defense.
In the Mount Rushmore of effort guys, of juice players. They bring it every single week.
Now Will Lynch bumped into the official on the face-off, and they're going to give the ball to Duke. Naso. Over to Denenza. He's got 2 points. Denenza face dodge to the cage. Entenmann going down to preserve the 5-hole.
That was a fantastic move by Denenza, too, because he was able to cut through the heart of that defense and then switch it over to his left.
Pushing it. That hasn't always been the mentality in South Bend for the Fighting Irish.
Oh, we get a hold, and it belongs to Notre Dame.
You know, those are the type of goals that Pat Kavanaugh scores that you think he's tailor-made for the PLL, right? They're critical to the success, and I've seen enough from him to think that he's a bona fide star.
And that defense absolutely erased Carolina's attack. And don't sleep on Matthew Nunes. I know Liam Entenmann gets most of the love as the best goalie in the country. Nunes' numbers have been off the charts. He has played like a first or second team All-American this year. O'Neal, look at that first tally. Fires on the run. Boy, there was nothing.
Legacy, you think of two things. You think of greatest player and greatest winners. Like if Caitlin Clark doesn't
that's what I was going to say. If she defers tonight, like I'm turning off the TV because you know watching that game tonight that she's going to get her shots.
But you also know even if they lose to an undefeated South Carolina, she's maybe the greatest college basketball player ever, right?
Most impactful. Most freeing up that space so there isn't that second slide, but really good deceleration by Kavanaugh there to give himself a feet set look.
Precisely. And that takes a lot too, because you know when you're sweeping across the top part of the goal, you're always kind of moving your feet, continuing to move to the goal. He stopped his feet because that allowed the velocity and the torque in that shot.
Now right now it feels like Duke is trudging uphill. Loose ball hold. Those games, he only had one goal against Penn, only had one goal in the loss to Syracuse.
Interesting, this weekend I covered the Penn State Hopkins game, and Jeff Tambroni talking about halftime adjustments and how important they are in this era of lacrosse where there's so many good teams. What can you do to change a game?
Tyler Carpenter off the ground. Here is O'Neal. Dumps it behind the cage to Dyson Williams.
And it wasn't this long, drawn-out type of
cradle to rip.
Yes, exactly.
Lynch wins this faceoff. For the first 14 games of last season, Will Lynch was under 50%, but starting with championship weekend to now, above 60%. He was viewed as Notre Dame's Achilles heel going into the national semifinals, and he balled out again. 3 goals for Chris Kavanaugh, 4 for Pat Kavanaugh. Chris came into this game as Notre Dame's leading scorer at 46 goals a season ago. Naso wins this faceoff. Duke tries to dent this 4-goal deficit. Blue Devils have lost.
Thinking offside low.
And if you see that replay, Quint, it's that subtle movement. He drops his top hand just a little bit too, I think anticipating low and away.
And Colin Hagstrom to take that faceoff for Notre Dame. Had it won, the trail check by McGuire. And now the pendulum has swung toward Duke. An O'Neal goal, it's juiced to the crowd. McGuire comes up with a play.
One of the fastest players ever. Like when I think of Duke 2013, 2014, the one player, and there were so many great ones, the one player though I always associate with is Jordan Wolf.
Yep. Won 2 national titles.
Uncommon speed.
Uncommon.
You remember how that game ended? Notre Dame tried to double him, and he just ran around everybody.
And that's right in his wheelhouse because I've gotten to know him. Give 2 guys that have inside presence on the Notre Dame offense, Taylor and McLean.
I don't love some of those schemes that ask for goalies to come out. You're supposed to come out and flush and then get back. That time Jameson's out there like he's playing defense.
It doesn't end well, but for McLean, it's a big day for him. He's got 2 cousins on the Duke team, and Liam McLean, a junior attacker, and Colin McLean Jr.
Seen another last year have one of the great individual seasons in terms of accolades and hardware that we've ever seen in the sport. ACC Player of the Year, Tewaaraton Award, MVP of the World Games for Brennan O'Neal. So their paths have always been intertwined, and as the PLL continues to grow, to see those rivalries continue.
I mean, he is a complete vacuum cleaner.
A 3-time All-American, and he is also closing in on Duke's all-time record for caused turnovers, currently held by JT Giles Harris, who you can watch in the PLL. And right now, Duke pushing downhill, down 2.
This crowd is trying.
More from the Philly area. Top 50 recruit coming out of high school, where he also played quarterback for his football team. Face-off won by Duke. Frizzoli will play it back. Brower can't find it. Now
here come
the Piranhas.
Uh-oh. Kavanaugh's
Pat
shoulder.
Kavanaugh's hurt.
That's not a good look.
He gets immediate attention from Mandy Merritt, the athletic trainer. Who did
And now a flag is thrown. Chris Kavanaugh, his brother, came to Pat's defense right away. Kenny Brower standing off to the side early in the game. Brower and Kavanaugh got into it. And Pat Kavanaugh holding his shoulder. Remember, this is a kid who was basically duct taped at the end of last season when Notre Dame won its national championship.
He had the hamstring and then he had the shoulder.
Didn't play this fall at all. This moment is bigger than this game right now if you're a Notre Dame fan. He's tangled up and he just lands on it funny right there.
Yeah, that's nothing on the defender.
And right away you see it's the right shoulder. I couldn't agree with you more. It's so much bigger.
This moment,
This
right
moment,
here,
yes. Because you hope that it's nothing serious, because this team, his personality.
Face-off won by Lynch. Accelerates ahead, puts it on goal. Jamison got a piece. Chris Kavanaugh's got a backup.
Pat's back in.
Down low, magical hands from Dyson.
Dyson Williams in the top 5 all-time goals at Duke, as is Brennan O'Neill. Here comes McAdory. And he ties the game at 11.
Sellout crowd. We've got something. Jake Naso, first team All-American a year ago. Brass knuckle match with Will Lynch and the catapult from McAdory.
Two things stand out. McAdory's on the wing of the face-off, so they transition in offense right away, and then the rollback to set up his strong right hand.
That's the catapult I'm mentioning. Like, he uses it all in his momentum. It's a catch, and as he catches, he turns, and the torque.
Duke was down 4 at halftime. They trailed by 3 going into the fourth quarter.
Naso got hammered.
That's a late flag.
Plays it back, and now the penalty coming. A 4-1 run by the Blue Devils in this fourth quarter. 8:53 to go.
Naso gets rocked here. See the replay, Quint. Goes up for it.
That is a clean lacrosse hit.
And that flag was super late, too.
That
I think
is
the flag was more of the reaction.
Result. There was a result of the player staying down on the field. There was nothing illegal. 2 hands on his stick, hit with the...
A Blue Devil win today would likely garner a lot of support for Duke as the new #1. It's a 1-goal game, less than 7 minutes to go. Notre Dame has won 4 straight against Duke. Last year, Memorial Day, it was an exorcism of sort for the Irish, who had been eliminated by Duke 5 times in the NCAA tournament, starting with that 2010 championship game when C.J. Costabile scored the goal in overtime. First goal of the game for Taylor, Notre Dame's top goal scorer. 7-point afternoon for Kavanaugh. We'll get a whistle.
Yeah, Will Lynch jumped.
And it comes back to Duke. Still plenty of time, less than 6 minutes to go. Blue Devils down 2. Naso, nobody picked him up. Entenmann sends it back. And it will stay with Duke. It's Gray.
You fall in love with the spot.
Quint, your daughter, similar story. She's a goalie now.
If anyone in this world deserved to have a child who's a goalie, it's this guy. I cannot wait till the nerves start flowing. Good luck, my friend. Defensive midfielders who are both offensive players in high school. They can score.
Naso and Lynch. They played at rival high schools on Long Island. Lynch kicks it back. Parlett scoops it, tries to. Duke comes away with it. And we're going to get a call against Duke. So,
They say he was out of the box.
Because Parlett missed the scoop, the Duke player stepped out of the box anticipating that he's going to scoop it to riding it. And so possession was never ensured by Parlett.
So Notre Dame will get it back.
They still would have been able to get that team in college lacrosse with 0 holes, right? Like, what are the question marks of this team? Do you have any?
short stick defensive depth. I mean, you're talking about like roster spots 18 through 25.
Maybe get another guy in the mix there, right? Just for depth and health. But their top-end short stick D middies are elite.
Final seconds will tick off. McAdory with one final shot.